Welcome to the Power of Love show, sponsored by the D.D. Jackson Foundation, where we shine a light on loss and grief and how it impacts our lives. We are here to provide hope, resources, and a community so no one feels alone in their grief. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Power of Love show, sponsored by the D.D. Jackson Foundation, where we shine light on your grief. I know, Taj. You know what the problem was? I know. I messed it up. My problem was I was looking at you and seeing you smile and seeing how you always smile at one particular moment, and then I start to smile and then I ruined it. But anyway, we shine light on your loss and grief, and what else, Taj? Help me out.
Oh, you got to put me on the spot? I don't know.
What's the intro? I don't know the intro, but you guys know we at the D.D. Jackson Foundation are all about helping you get through your loss, learn to navigate it, and to race through it. I have a lot going on. I have a 5-year-old who's about to walk in the door.
Yeah.
Rio. But anyways, this is a brand new episode of the Power of Love show. Again, sponsored by the D.D. Jackson Foundation. And on today's show, we are talking about grief. During the holiday season, this is part 2. Yes, we did part 1 last week, but we figured that this was such an important topic that we're going to do 2 episodes of it, so we are doing it again. But before we do that, if you are listening to us on your podcast or watching live on Facebook or YouTube, thank you for joining us. We want to remind you all, whether you're watching or listening, to subscribe to our channel. It not only helps us, it helps share our information. I have to stop looking at you because the brother vibe we have, knowing that I've known you for all my life, is making me smile. I'm thinking of childhood stuff.
You should be.
But yes, make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you follow us. It helps others discover what we are doing at DDJF. As far as the disclaimer, Taj isn't going to do it, so I guess I have to be the one to do it. Is that right, Taj? Anyway, we are not licensed therapists. We are just ordinary people who've experienced loss in our lives. We've been impacted by it, and we've learned from it. Saying that, if you need professional help, we urge you to seek it and to find it. Please, 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 please do not just rely on us. With that said, we have an official Facebook group for anyone who wants to join, who may be going through loss or grief, or if you went through it and you want to help others get through this difficult time in their lives, please consider joining it and just being there for the community. We all, and I mean we all, can use help. We can all use love. We can all use the community. We can use each other to uplift ourselves. No one is immune to this. Doesn't matter the gender, doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your race. We all can use each other in terms of being there for each other.
Support, yeah.
We all can use the support. Taj, before we went live, we were talking about, you shared with me about someone who had been going through very strong mental concerns or
mental breakdowns. Yep.
Mental breakdowns. And it was shocking to me to hear the name. And it's just a reminder for all of you that this can happen to anyone. Do you want to share about this, Taj, or do you want me?
I just came across it right before we went on air. It was Taraja P. Henson said basically that she had suicidal thoughts in lockdown, and quote, I want it to be over. And so basically she was just talking about how, I'm paraphrasing now, but how she had 2 horrible days of just like dark moments. And it kind of consumed her. I'll just read real quick. It says, so during this pandemic, this is quotes from her. So during this pandemic, it's been hard on all of us. And I had a moment. I had a dark moment. It was in a dark place, says Henson. For a couple of days, I couldn't get out of bed. I didn't care. That's not me. Then I started to have these thoughts about ending it. And then it says, it happened 2 nights in a row, and I purchased a gun not too long ago. It's in a safe, and I started I could go there right now, and it can end it all because I want it to be over. And it says, I thought about my son. He's grown. He'll get over it. I didn't care. She continued. I felt myself withdrawing. People were calling me. I wasn't responding. I didn't care. And then she said that she decided to confide in one of her girlfriends about what she's thinking. And she says, and I just blurted out, I thought about killing myself. And then when she did that, she felt so much better, and knew it was something she knew it wasn't something she'd do anymore. I mean, I'm just giving you the gist of it, but it's amazing. Like, someone at that stature that you would think, oh, everything's great for this person. She's winning awards. She's getting incredible roles. She seems super happy. And that's why we've always said in general, just check on everyone, check on your friends, because appearances can be deceiving, especially when they're like, oh, I'm great and I'm happy, or you kind of have to sometimes pry sometimes. And some people don't like that, but it's better be safe than sorry. And,
Taj, I first of all, I appreciate you finding this and sharing it with the community.
Contribution for
well, and I love this. Obviously don't love the thoughts she had or has, but I love the fact that she shared it, because she's someone who's had an amazing career, and she's, in my opinion, at the peak of her career. And it just goes to show you that these mental thoughts and being down and where this dark moments in your life can come from anywhere, and they can have the effect. They can have you have some really dark mindsets and go to dark places. And I'm just so happy that she shared it. A lot of people may say that's a sign of weakness, or but I see it the opposite. I think it's a sign of strength. I think it takes a lot to be who she is and to be able to share that. And I think of her even stronger now and in a better light. Not that I thought of her in a bad light, but it's commendable. It's very honorable. And was there anything you want to say? Because I was going to segue right into our show with that.
Let's do it. Yeah, no, that was pretty much a good place to start, just because I know there's people going through it right now, especially with the conditions that we're in.
Well, as we said earlier, or as I said earlier, this is the second part of coping with grief during the holidays. Usually we don't do two shows that are quite similar back to back, but again, this seems to be more pervasive and hitting more of us in a deeper level. So we felt it was best to do it twice. The time between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day holds many annual holidays and can be a very difficult time for people who've experienced the loss of a loved one to navigate. Memories of good times and togetherness at the holiday season serve to remind us of our loss. Watching others who are feeling thankful and celebrating when we feel overwhelmed, lonely, or sad can be very painful and isolating. The holidays force us to realize how much our lives have been changed by the loss of our loved one, particularly in the first year. Many bereaved are left with having to develop new holiday rituals and traditions. The first step in coping with grief during the holiday season is to acknowledge it. Acknowledge that it will likely be difficult, and then prepare for it in advance by making specific plans and obtaining the support that you need. Remember, too, that sometimes the anticipation of a holiday can be more difficult than the day itself. So be sure to allow yourself time and space to navigate the time leading up to the holiday. We've talked about it, and it's super hard when you lose a loved one. It's super hard to lose a loved one, especially when it's fresh. It's a recent loss, and then have something like Christmas in 2 days, or to have New Year's or Valentine's Day or birthday. There are so many different types of celebratory days in our calendar that sometimes these moments in this holiday season can feel quite difficult to navigate through. And I think the key is, and the main thing, if you can get one thing from this show, it's to find support. It's to not think that you have to figure this out on your own. So if you find yourself have just lost a loved one or dealing with a serious loss or grief, please do what Miss Henson did. Do what so many in our community do, and encourage other people to find that support, to find some type of a community to latch onto and to open up to. It's super important, and it could be the difference between being able to get through your life in a way that's healthy and not. Oftentimes, I'm going to ask you this, Taj. Have you ever went through a really, I mean, obviously with Mom's passing and Uncle Michael and any other family members, I should say. Have you been through a stage where you felt like you were in a really dark hole because of it? And you know what? Let's say this. I don't necessarily mean within that first 6 months, because I think that's kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel we all can get into a dark hole when we lose someone recently. I think that's a natural, especially someone we care about and is passionate about and love. But in time, have you ever went back and found yourself stuck in a dark place because of a loss of a loved one?
No, I mean, luckily, no. But at the same time, I've always had some kind of support in a way, through people, just through friends, family, loved ones. So I've been very fortunate in that way. I think what's different now is that because of COVID, people are isolated. And so that isolation adds to that in a way where naturally people would come together and console others and hug others. And, it's going to be okay. You can't do that now. And families can't come together like they would naturally. It's through, as great as technology is, it's through technology that we have to do it now. And there's not that human contact and that feeling of being together. There is an emotional and spiritual thing about being close to someone. So I think that's the difference in that way. We said that with Andrew's mom.
Yeah.
It was Alan. It was really hard for me because I wanted to console him and his family, and Richard and everyone else. But we were watching it on the screen, like literally just watching it on Zoom.
And you're talking about during Shiva.
Yeah.
I think it's called Shiva or Shiva, which is a ceremony during or a ceremony in the Hebrew religion where they celebrate the loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
So and we had to do this through Zoom.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't know if it was this live or another live I had done, but it was my first experience doing a Shiva. I hope I'm saying it right, but it was very impactful. Yeah. It was very, very impactful and something that I will, always remember and cherish. And I thought it was a beautiful way to honor not only a person, but to be there for the family. So I'm sorry to cut you off, Todd. I just want to give some context.
No. So for me, I never, luckily for a loss, never experienced. I felt in dark places before, but it wasn't because of a loss. It's just because of things hitting you every once in a while in that way. And it just blindsides you. But luckily, when Mom passed, we had people that swooped in and helped us and really protected us and made us feel like no matter what, things were going to be okay, even though they weren't. At least had that sense of like purpose moving
on. So I know I just kind of blindsided you with that question because it's not really specifically on topic. So I'll get back to that. But one question you answered last week, and I think I answered, and we went over, but I want to ask the community again, is what advice do you have for others to help them cope? Any tips, any advice, anything you can give that has helped you, let us know in the comments section so that if someone needs it, especially during this difficult time. And again, it doesn't have to just be coping with the loss of someone you love. It could be coping with the loss of a job or a loss of your home or whatever it is, just any type of significant loss. What do you do that helps you cope? I'm going to give some tips from a list that we have regarding coping with grief during the holidays. One is to set realistic expectations for yourself. Decide if you can still handle the responsibilities you've had in the past. Examine the task and events of celebrating and ask yourself if you want to continue them or take a break. And I'm gonna. There's several more, but I want to pause on this one for a minute because I think what comes up for me when I read that one or when I say that one is you have to be able to be okay with diminishing the expectations or your pride. Your ego can't be in the way. You have to be able to say, I can't do this right now, or I need help. And that's what I love about this. Decide if you can still handle the responsibilities you've had in the past. It's okay to not be able to do everything you've been doing or everything you think you should be doing. Do not beat yourself up for it. If you're dealing with the loss of a significant person in your life, there's a good chance you have many friends that are trying to figure out a way to help you, a way to be there for you. And it's okay to say, do you mind helping me do this for the next couple of weeks or for the next couple of months while I grieve? There is nothing wrong with that. And I wish our society made that more of a point, because we tend to have this strict structure of what we do when we lose someone and a strict structure of how we show our remorse and condolences, whether it's flowers or a card or a statement. There's more that side usually wants to do. They just don't know how to do it and how to overstep. So please, if you find yourself in this situation where you're in this stuck, don't be afraid to ask for help. Please.
Yeah, that's a good point. Asking for help. I think a lot of people feel that they're burdening someone by asking in that way, and especially if that's their nature in general. So, I don't want to ask, and then compounded with the grief and the loss, they really don't want to ask in a way. But there's so much joy that can be given to the other person that wants to help in that way, because they feel connected to, because they're grieving as well. If they're friends of yours or if they're family members or whatever, we're all grieving at that point. And so everyone feels like there's purpose, like, oh, I can help this person with this now and show my appreciation.
Yeah. And, take people up on their offers if they want to cook for you, or shop, or, during this holiday season, if they want to decorate or buy gifts or whatever it is, take them up on their offers. It's not only good for you if you feel the need to, but it's also good for them, as they'll feel more connected and feel like they're helping and want to do more to help you. Surround yourself with people who love and support you. Share your plans with family and friends and let them know of any intended changes in a holiday routine. Memories can sometimes be a source of comfort to the bereaved. Share your memories with others of holidays spent with your loved ones by telling stories and looking at photo albums. As another reason why I love the Shiva for Ellen so much, there were so many wonderful memories shared. While it's okay to avoid some circumstances that you don't feel ready to handle, be careful not to isolate yourself. Again, that is the theme. If you take something from this show, take that. Do not isolate yourself. And as Taj mentioned about Henson reaching out to her best friend or a friend, that's what it takes sometimes, and reach out, get that support. Allow yourself to feel joy, sadness, anger. Allow yourself to grieve. It is important to recognize that every family member has his or her own unique grief experience and may have different needs related to celebrating the holidays. No one is right or wrong. Experiencing joy and laughter does not mean you have forgotten your loved one. That's a big one to me too, Taj, because oftentimes people are afraid to laugh or smile. They don't feel like they should be doing that. And I think it's important to share that you're going to go through a variety of emotions, and it's okay to go through those emotions.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something? I felt like I cut you off.
No. I think that's very important because people, I think our society has we're brainwashed with this vision of how you're supposed to grieve and when you lose someone. And that's not how it works at all, as you just said, in terms of, it is okay to smile or laugh if you're thinking of a memory or a funny thing that person did or say. That's how I got through a lot of stuff, was just thinking, whether it was Mom or Uncle Michael, about thinking of the good times, and that would bring a smile to my face or make me laugh. And it's the best counter to it. But we're taught, oh, you're not supposed to be happy during that time period.
Yeah,
and I think that's a negative image that we put on ourselves.
Draw comfort from doing for others. Consider giving a donation or gift in memory of your loved one. Adopt a needy family during the holiday season. I love both of those because it's a way for you to not only pay your love and respect to someone, but to, like we do here at DDJF. I'm so thankful for, everyone who's a part of the foundation. And everyone who watches and supports the foundation, not only because of what we stand for and what we do and the message we deliver and what we're doing for the community, but it's also putting our mother's name in a great light, and it's leaving a bit of a legacy for her. And that's a powerful thing for those who have suffered the loss of their mother. And so again, if there's someone that that's dealing with a loss, maybe sponsor a family, help them, a family in need, in the name of that person, and maybe just showcase that to that friend or that person who lost someone, to let them know that their mother will always have a place in your heart, and her love will always be missed, even for those that may not have known her, or a family in need. I think that's a powerful gesture.
In honor of someone is always, I think that's what really helped me when Mom passed, was because we knew we were finishing our album in honor of her. Like that, if I didn't have that goal of keep moving to do this for Mom and put up this album in honor of her, then I don't know what my life would have been in that way. I don't know how it would change, because it didn't give me the chance to stop, in a way, because I wanted to finish this for her, as we all did. We wanted this out because she was so proud of the songs that we had done when she was alive. We wanted to do this for her, and she was our biggest cheerleader. So in honor of someone is a strong thing that I would say, and it doesn't have to be an album, obviously, and it doesn't have to be a charity as we did. It could be something as just doing a nice gesture in honor, or doing something that she loved to do or he loved to do, or whatever it is, in honor of them. It's keeping their memory alive.
Nice. There's a couple questions, and I've been slipping on the comments, so I apologize to the viewers. But there's a couple questions that I do want to hit. Connie asked, DD Jackson Foundation, how do you spell Shiva? Where can I hear about that? The spelling is SHIVA. Again, it's a tradition, and again, I have probably heard of it. My best friends are Jewish.
Yeah.
I grew up with Jewish. I love the Jewish community, and I probably heard about it growing up, but it was my first time experiencing a Shiva that I remember, and it's the first time me knowing the name of it. But it's SHIVA, and I think it's a fabulous tradition in the Hebrew Jewish community. Casey asks, but what do you do if you only feel safe when you're isolated? Todd, do you have any advice on that?
No, I just think that you know yourself best in that way, in terms of feeling safe. The thing for me about being isolated is just that you have no one else to consult in that way, and that's when feelings or emotions can get the best of you. So just as long as you have someone that you can bounce things off of or talk to in whatever, that's fine. But if it's just self-isolation, it's just you. Sometimes you can be your worst enemy. You can be your best friend at times and be like, hey, I got to heal alone. Like I know how to do this and all that, and that's fine. But then also when those dark feelings or those, doubts start entering your mind, you can also be your worst enemy. So yeah, I would just say be careful and just always have someone or something that you can rely on. And I hate to say it, but for me, a long time it was pets.
So
It was a dog, and it was like, it was Rascal. And I was like, hey, as long as me and Rascal were going through it together, then it was like I was okay. It was hard, but I was like, I got Rascal here. She's partner in crime. So it depends on what it is.
Taj, you took the words out of my mouth. I was letting you finish. Now that was my additional point, but you made it, and I think it's a strong point. I consider myself somewhat of an introvert. I like being alone. I like, and I understand what that feeling safe when you're isolated, when there's other people who are the exact opposite. But the danger to me comes when you are alone and your mind drifts in a negative space and you don't have an outlet to go to for that comfort. And that's where I agree with Taj. For me, I had a dog as well, Yabo. Very powerful, and it's like a pet that's there for you that obviously can't talk to you, but is there to show you love and something for you can get your emotions and your words out. Is huge. And that just goes to show you, for anyone out there, we are not pets, of course, but you can be like a pet where you don't have to say anything. I think just being in the presence, being felt is where the power is at. And, again, we are not pets. I'm not a dog. Taj isn't a dog, but just being near someone and just hugging them or just being in the room, without, if you don't know what to say, if you're lost for words, if you don't know what to do, just being there is comforting for many of us. So just remember that as well. Okay, there's 4 more that I have, and then we'll figure out where we're at on the show, 'cause we like to keep things around 30 to 40 minutes. But there's 4 more big tips that we have for you for coping with grief during this holiday season. And again, this year it's been a difficult one, but it's important to do this. Show number 2, 4 more tips. Ready? Physical exercise is often an antidote for depression. You don't have to lift crazy weights. You don't have to do crazy workouts, but just walking, doing something is better than just sitting around stewing in your grief. Pick up a different hobby, pick up a different exercise. If you've ever wanted to go be a swimmer, well, not now, it's a little cold in most places, at least for most people who are watching this. Bike riding, boxing, yoga. There's so many different exercises and kind of physical activity things you can do that can help you with grief. Write in a journal. That could be very good outlet for you. If you are someone who like Casey, if you like to be alone, if you feel safe, make a journal, write in that journal, lock it up. If you feel you're worried about someone seeing it or getting it, just make sure you get your mental thoughts, get them out. We can have some trouble when we let it stew.
You're writing in a journal. I always thought, is that's a great thing to do in terms of that. Me being Mr. Creative and all that stuff, but I said, if I ever get to that point, I'd write a story about me in a way, because it's almost like a journal. Like
you'd write a story about you?
Well, if I was the person, like going through something, you know how you write a journal?
Okay.
I'd make a story.
Gotcha.
Then I would look at it later, like very soon later, but I would look at it and maybe being a little removed from it, you can kind of give advice to that character of what you would want them to do. Because sometimes when you're in it, you don't take your own advice.
Yeah.
But if it's a character that's you almost, you might be like, well, you should do this. Why isn't this character doing this? It's right there. But as a person, you're like, I can't do it. I'm not strong enough, or I'm not this. But when it's a character on a movie screen, I'm saying like just in your head or in a book, you've written, it's like, oh, this character needs to do this, this, and this. It's
Yeah.
almost like you're more, so it's just being creative. Like I like being creative in that way.
Nice.
Dance it out. I like that.
Yeah. It's just, I just think staying physical is something we often forget, because when we go through loss, oftentimes it's as if there's a pull for us to just sink into a couch or a bed and just get lost in our thoughts. And it's a very natural tendency, but it's something that we have to also kind of fight, because our body needs that movement. Our body needs to get fresh air. It needs to see the nature. It needs to see all that important stuff. So we can't just let ourselves succumb to that completely, in my opinion. Another couple of things real quick that's important is that you can do is you can create a new tradition or ritual that accommodates your current situation. Some people find comfort in the old traditions, others find them unbearably painful. Discuss with your family the activities you want to include or exclude this year. Again, referring to strategies for coping with grief during the holidays. One thing that we also want to suggest and plead is to not rely on alcohol or meditation to mask your emotions and your feelings. Obviously, glass of wine, that stuff is I think, and again, this is where you got to watch the disclaimer again, because I'm not a doctor and I don't want to push anyone, but oftentimes there's some people who will mask their emotions and rely on exterior medication or alcohol to numb themselves, and that's a very dangerous position to get to. So please try to refrain from that and utilize these other tactics and other tips on how to deal with loss and grief. Again, this is, we all have to experience loss at some point in our life. It just seems like it's magnified right now. A lot, our regular rhythm of living is completely off, with the quarantining and all the flux in the economy and the political stuff. We're in new territory. So we just have to make sure we are doing what our bodies need. We are social beings. We have to make sure we are connecting, and don't rely on alcohol and drugs to numb yourself to thinking that you are okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there something else, Todd? You sound like you're going to say something.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed something about me that while you were saying that, in terms of one of the things I think why this whole situation luckily hasn't affected me as much as it should is because I'm just, and you said this, and I think the first point, but I'm always like I'm a go with the flow person. And I realize not people like their regiment in that way, like get up at this time, go to the gym, that's not me. And so luckily this has worked because of that in my favor. But to people that do that have a strict regimen, it's like, go to sleep at this time, it's thrown it all in chaos. So I totally get it and understand it, because you can't plan anything right now. You can't plan out what your life's going to be. And that's scary. And that's so for me, I understand it, the other side. I just am lucky that I've never been like that,
Yeah.
And so I'm very fortunate, but at the same time, all these people their lives are in chaos because they usually map out, which is what you're supposed to do. Map out your, kind of have a regiment and what you want to do in life and where you're going and all that stuff. So I get it in that way. And so it's very hard for people because they can't plan out. They don't even know where their next paycheck is coming from in certain circumstances. And that's super frustrating.
We asked some in the community on our Instagram channel, on the DD Jackson Foundation Instagram profile. We asked, how do you ideas for coping? And there were some good answers that I want to share. One is from Mua Ortiz. She says that she finds talking about grieving really helps. She always feels better after taking and expressing her feelings. Always Julie said, decorating a Christmas tree for the first time in 17 years. Couldn't do it after my dad died. I'm happy she's doing it now.
Yeah.
Xmas61 says, we have a beautiful remembrance tree with wooden hearts that we write on. That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
TLWMIS, not going to try to say that, but she says she has a Christmas tree with Christmas ornaments of the lost ones in her life, her loved ones that she's lost, that she places on the Christmas tree every year. That's a fantastic idea that I never thought of, but it's a great kind of ritual you can start. Is, we all cherish our ornaments, and it's a good time to remember that loved one. Maybe create an ornament, special ornament for that person, and put it on your Christmas tree. From the family rules mindset, that's very healthy for your youngsters to learn about their family, or even people that made an influence in your life or impacted your life. So I love that one. Eat with your friends via Zoom to be happy because you and your family are healthy. That's from Belengar. And then Celia says, trying to remember the person in their happy times, which is a good one.
Yeah.
There are a couple more tips, Taj, then we'll close that I thought were very good. Create a memory box. You could fill it with photos of your loved one or written memory notes from family members and friends. Young children can include their drawings in the memory box. Make a decorative quilt using favorite colors, symbols, or images that remind you of the person who you lost. Light a candle in honor of your absent loved one. Put a bouquet of flowers on your holiday table in memory of your loved one. Visit the final resting place of your loved one and set out flowers or decorations. Have a moment of silence during a holiday toast to honor your loved one. Place a commemorative ornament on the Christmas tree. We talked about that one. Write a poem about your loved one and read it during a holiday ritual. Play your loved one's favorite music or favorite game. I feel like this is something you would do. Yeah, I look up and I see you smiling.
Well, something fun like that. Yeah. Or your favorite song or your favorite game, or watch a loved one's favorite movie.
Yeah, that was the next one, Taj. Watch your loved one's favorite movie. Plan a meal with your loved one's favorite foods. That was an interesting one. And the most important thing to remember is there's no right or wrong way to celebrate the holiday season after the death of a loved one. And that the best way to cope with that first holiday season is to plan ahead, get support from others, and to take it easy. There's a couple of great, real quick suggestions, and then we will close it. But Taj, there was a couple. I'm reading some of the comments. They're very cool.
Yeah.
Could you write it down on like a letter journal? Oh, that's something different. I'm sorry. Traveling. I most likely would be traveling. Having a routine every day. From Rachel again. Work on yourself. There was one more. This is the community is growing, that the comments are going so fast. Taj, let's answer this real quick. 2K Demix wants to know, what are your guys' routine that helps you, TJ and Taj? Do you even have a routine?
A daily routine? No. For grieving, my routine is I take it a step at a time. It depends. I don't feel I shouldn't say every loss is equal. It's just every loss is not the same. They don't affect you the same way. I know that Mom and Uncle Michael's loss were completely different losses in terms of how they hit me. They felt the same in terms of the impact of them, but they were different approaches that I had to take in one way. With Mom, it was more of honoring her and finishing stuff and making her proud. I think that was the main message, was like, this is, she's always been proud of us and proud of me, and I want to keep that going, and I'm going to do stuff in her honor to show that all that love and support she gave me didn't go to waste.
Yeah.
With Uncle Michael was similar in that way, where all that time that he spent with us, I didn't want it to go to waste, but it was also cherishing the memories, cherishing the laughter, the fun times, because those were the best times with him. So just laughing and hearing his laugh and all that stuff was the therapeutic part of me. It wasn't even the music. Now the music has kind of been better for me in terms of like I've listened to a lot of music now, but that wasn't what got me through it. And I never got over it. I'm just saying, like, helped me get through it. It was thinking of the great memories and how fortunate and lucky I was to be a part of his life.
Yeah.
Do you have any like routines?
I wouldn't say routines, but I wouldn't say routines, but I think the hardest times, and this is something that I'm being completely transparent and open with. I gotta find a better way to because I think I don't do enough in terms of that when a significant day comes, like whether it's mom's birthday or Uncle Michael's birthday, it hits me a bit harder than it. I don't want to say it should, because that's putting a measure on how much I should be, where I should be. But I feel like if I did a better job outside of those days year round, that I would be in a better, more comfortable place. Because I commend you, Taj. You seem to always, and I don't want to put the pressure on you, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be in a better mental space on those days. You seem to where, and I actually think I'm decent, because I know other people are probably a lot worse, but I still want to get better at that. And I think that's because I'm not taking care of that side of it on a daily basis. And I mentioned this show in particular in the Facebook group has been super helpful for me, and wow. I didn't expect that. We didn't start the foundation with the intention of healing ourselves. It was really to help others go through a situation that we knew about or had a somewhat of a similar experience, and to help our mother's legacy and what she cared for live on. Those were the main two purposes for DDJF. But I have to say, this Power of Love show has been huge for me and my health in that means. So I haven't really felt any type of really negative cloud that's too big on me, except on days where it's a significant day. Again, it's more challenging.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Todd, there's one more question before we wrap. There's one more question that I think is important. Angie asked, what should a person do if they don't feel comfortable talking to anyone for help? I think that's a great question.
I think if you don't feel comfortable talking, is it because there's two things to this real quick. Is it because it's someone close to you and you don't feel comfortable sharing feelings that people are close to you? If that's the case, then maybe reach out to someone that you don't know in a way, like a hotline or calling a hotline or something like that, talking to a stranger. Maybe that might help. If it's something where you just don't naturally feel comfortable talking to anyone, then this is just my advice, and it's not anything that's been proven or anything, but it's how I get is writing it out or getting it out of your system in a way. So that's why I was saying stuff like writing a story or something, or creating a character, do something creative where you create like a cartoon character or a character or something that is going through that. And because we've seen with our guests, a lot of these guests that we've had on have done that. They've transformed their grief into something that has helped others. They've created characters, they've created animals, or they've done something creative to bypass that, because I think somehow in your brain, the creative and the grieving can't go together in that way. And I've seen a lot of great things come from transforming that loss and grief into something that can help others. And so, yeah, write a short story or something that, is going through what you're going through, and it might help others.
Yeah. The other thing I would add, Taj, was there another one? Because I thought you said two things.
No? I said two things earlier, and I did the two things.
Okay. The other thing, if you're having trouble talking to other someone about what you're going through, it could be, I see it as this: you're either not wanting to burden someone else, which is something I think I kind of went through, where I didn't want to burden anyone with my sadness. I didn't want to, you know, put people in a bad, and I'm still like that. If something's tough is happening with me, you know, I don't go and tell people. And I think a lot of people are like that, you know, but that's something that, again, as we've been saying throughout the show, that's something that you have to get over. It's a truth, like what Miss Taraji Henson, to me, that's the strength, is when you can open up and find someone to talk to. If you keep it all to yourself, that's where not only trouble can happen, but to me, that's not as strong as a person. I hate to say it like that, but I'm guilty of it myself. So the other thing is it could be pride. It could be an embarrassing thing. You know, no one likes to be seen as a weaker or to disappoint someone's judgment or their mentality towards them. So again, we have to push that all to the side and just be comfortable being open and being authentic and being real. By doing that, that's how you're going to really become the best you can. And that's how you're going to be able to help not only your family, your friends, but all of your loved ones and your community on helping them heal. And I think that's very powerful. I mean, take our situation. We could have easily just never talked about what losing our uncle or losing our beloved mother was like. But we decided, my brothers and I decided, to do this show and to do and be completely open when doing it, and in the hope of helping others. And again, like I've said several times, by doing so, I felt better myself in doing so.
Which was was totally not against, but that was totally what, as a family, we were not used to, was opening up and sharing our feelings to the public. And so,
not only to the public, but even in a way privately.
Well, yeah, well, definitely privately, as you mentioned. But I'm saying,
so in the open. And I don't think that's the route you want to take. Yeah. Be open. Find that loved one, that person who will not judge you. And again, for some people, it's tough. You know, you don't want to burden a family member or a friend, but that's why we have, you know, we're doing DDJF and we have this official Facebook group, is for you to find that home to be able to open up and get that support.
I think sometimes you're your worst enemy too, because you prejudge yourself. You think, well, someone's going to judge me if I say this. You know, if I say something to a support group or in a support forum or something, someone's going to judge me and have their opinion. But a support group or a support forum, they're there to support you and help you, and a good support group. So I think sometimes you psych yourself out and you're like, you know, I'm scared to say, you know, what I mean and what I feel.
So with all that said, Taj, we're going to close up. But before we wrap up the show, there is a poem that we want to share, written by speaker, author, advocate, minister Christy L. Adams. It's called When the Holidays Hurt. It's a letter to those who are still finding their way home. That's what the title is. To those who live really far away from home, to those who have no home, to those who are close but still feel far, to those who are grieving the loss of a loved one, to those who are preparing the transition of a loved one, to those who sit in the hospital rooms, to those still reeling from tragedy, to those who are brokenhearted, to those who are misunderstood, to those who just don't understand, to those who are still finding their way, to those who have yet to forgive, to those who need to be forgiven, to those who don't know love, to those who have been rejected, to those who've lost their smile, to those struggling to find hope, to those who need a friend, to those whose wounds are still open, to those who feel forgotten, to those who hurt, who are in pain, who are frustrated and fearful, and to those whose pain is undefined and unlisted. Forgive us for not seeing you when you needed to be seen, and for not listening to you when you needed to be heard. Forgive us for insisting that you participate in our seasons when we have failed to tend to you in yours. We cannot pretend to know your pain, nor can we begin to know the words that can speak into it. None of these, however, are excuses for ignoring it. We owe you phone calls, and visits and unexpected cards in the mail. Our prayers are dedicated to you. When we hope for you. It is you that we honor this holiday season for your courage and bravery to wake up in the morning, get dressed, and try again.
Mhm.
Again, that was written by Christy L. Adams. That
Okay.
wasn't written by me, although I thought it was
I,
beautiful and brilliant. What did you say, Taj?
I knew that.
But yes, very important to reach out and to be there for each other. Again, we want to share a couple of important. Let me find the page. But here we go. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. These are warm lines. They are created to give people support when they just need to talk to someone. Speaking to someone on these calls are typically free, confidential, and run by people who understand what it's like to struggle with mental health problems. Let's see. And of course, if you don't want to make that call or if it's not working in the US, you can always rely on DD Jackson Foundation Group. Taj Jackson, anything else before we wrap up?
No, just my heart goes out to people during this holiday season because everything is amplified during the holidays. You see a lot of shows, movies, just Instagrams of people happy or pretending to be happy and stuff like that. And if you're in a negative space, it amplifies it. So just don't be too hard on yourself, but don't be scared to ask for help as well. That's all I would say in that way. I think asking for help, in my personal opinion, is a measure of strength. Mm-hmm. It's a measure. I don't look at it as weakness at all. I look at it as strength. What Taraja P. Henson did, that's strong, in that way. And she's a good example of someone that, had a dark moment and was strong enough to ask for help in that.
All right, Taj, well said, man. Way to close. We are going to wrap up, but before we do, I also, on behalf of my brothers and the foundation, just want to thank you, whether you're watching, whether you're listening. We want to thank you for your support. Again, we do this for you, and we have a foundation that is a nonprofit. No one takes any income. It all goes to our programs and to help others. And we want to thank you all for supporting. We've gotten it's been a challenging year for our foundation in terms of fundraising, and we've gotten some great support from several of you. So we want to thank you as well for being there and helping our foundation thrive and grow. With all that said, on behalf of Taj and myself, want to send a special thank you to our board, who's been amazing. In my opinion, our best board yet. Very passionate. We all have the same goals. We all feel the same way about what we're doing. And I want to thank you guys on behalf, again, of my brothers. Thank you for all you are doing to make DDJF what it is. I think that is it. I think, Taj, this is going to be our last show of 2020. We will be back in the first week of January. So unless you want to change our mind, Taj, but we're probably going to be taking next week off. You guys enjoy your holidays, enjoy your family. And that is it. Taj, anything else you want to say?
No, I know 2021, it's New Year's. It'll be New Year's and a fresh start and all that stuff. Just as I said, just don't be too hard on yourself. Everyone is going through something right now in that way. And so just reach out, as I always say, reach out to everyone and see how everyone's doing. I've gotten a couple calls of people seeing how I'm doing, and it feels good. And I've done the same to other people. And you'll be surprised. Some people that you thought were doing great and incredible are having a hard time right now.
Well said. You know what I love? From the beginning to the end, this was a very good show, but you could tell this isn't our profession. The intro was choppy, the end is choppy, but hopefully the middle was solid and a lot of great meat, as they say. But to close, we just want to thank you all. We love you all. Well said, Taj. Way to close it. Take care of yourself. Be easy on yourself and share your love and be there for each other. We will see you guys not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after. Happy holidays. Please be safe on the New Year's Eve and New Year's. Enjoy your Christmas break. Enjoy your holidays, and adios.